Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Tamika. This is Library of Tomes, where I talk to you about all the bookish things going on in my life. Welcome back to another video in October. Are you tired of me yet? You're gonna be. I'm sorry. So today we're gonna be talking about the authors that I would love to meet. So this video idea came about because I was going to a Polycon in March. Then COVID happened. And I was also going to be going to Authors in the Bluegrass. But COVID happened. So I ended up not getting to go to either one of the author events that I wanted to go to this year, which is really sad. But honestly, I really like the idea of doing this every year where I talk about the authors that I would love to meet, and then maybe I can go over at some point all of the authors I have met and include like the signed books that I have. So I'm actually doing this in collaboration with Bethany over at Thanys Thoughts. So we were chatting because I put it out in the Discord, and if you have not checked out our Discord, it is linked in the description. The Discord is the romance booktuber server. Izzy put it together and I am over there on it. And we were chatting because I put it out there that I wanted to do a bunch of collabs. I wanted to show off a bunch of romance channels, and she reached out to me and she was like, yo, I'd like to do it too. So that's what we're doing today. She reads a mix of things. Like if you watched one of her most recent TBRs, she has like some YA fantasy, some YA contemporary. She has just some romance. She has some paranormal stuff on there. So she does read like kind of everywhere, which I love and I wanted to let you know about. I asked her to do this with me and to talk about some of the authors she would like to meet. And if you like my list after you finish watching it, go ahead and go watch hers too, because I'm excited. She has not told me any of the authors on her list. I've not told her any of mine. So this is like a fun surprise. I have 10. I'm gonna go over 10 authors, and I'm gonna be kind of brief about it just because some of these are kind of obvious. Some of these are just some of my favorite authors. These are authors that I've read books from that I've really liked, and these are authors that if I met them, I would be very excited to talk about their books with them. And I did do strictly romance. I don't think I gave her any limitations, but I just decided to do strictly romance because I was realizing that I have enough to do an entire another list at some point, and those are non-romance authors. So we'll just go ahead and jump in. And I want to jump in and tell you the first one, the most obvious one, we're going to go ahead and get it out of the way, is Brianna Hill. I started reading Brianna Hill in April of 2019. She was my first real dive into the romance genre. And I will say, I love her with my entire heart and soul. I have technically met her because I did a live interview on my channel. If you have not watched that, I will link that in the cards. It was great. She's so sweet. When you think of your favorite author and you like have this really high expectation for them and you are terrified they're gonna let you down, that is the feeling I felt right before I went on live with Brianna. And then as soon as we got on the live, she was so friendly and so sweet, and she was so like open and honest and talkative, and she just made me feel like I was so important to her. So I have technically met her, but I would love to meet her in person and have her sign all my books. And also I just really want to give her a hug. Like I just really want to meet her in person and just, you know, she knows how much I love her books. I literally am tweeting at her all the time, but I just want to meet her in person and have all my books signed, because that is like my dream right now. Is I really want the Protégé signed. Like of all the books that I own by her, the one that means the most to me is the Protégé. It is my favorite book from her right now, and it is also a book that a lot of my friends are reading and annotating. So we're all going through and annotating that book, and it is mine and I'm gonna get it back. So if she had signed that book as well as having all my friends write in it, it would melt my heart. It would make me so happy. So yeah, on this list, obviously, how was I gonna do this kind of list without mentioning Brianna Hill? I just want her to sign my books. That's all I want. Next up is Megan Quinn. I love The Dugout. It's not my favorite book of the year, but it's not my second favorite book of the year. My favorite book of the year is tied right now, and I just have not had the heart to decide between the two books. It is one of the books that is tied for the spot, and it is beautiful. It is so beautiful. I loved it so much. I was gonna meet Megan at Authors in the Bluegrass. I obviously did not get to do that because it was canceled. So in the near future, I hope that I am able to meet her and that I am able to have some books signed by her, because she writes the most beautiful characters. Carson and Millie still stick out in my head, and it is so hard for characters to stick out in my head, especially by saying their names. So I love Megan Quinn. I can't wait to eventually get to meet her. Hopefully she will be at a Polycon whenever that does happen in 2022, and hopefully COVID will not be around in 2022 so that we can actually have our book events, because I doubt that in 2021 we will have any kind of book events. Next up is another one that I really like, and that is Kennedy Ryan. I loved Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. So of course I would love to meet her and talk to her about it. Like, the fact that that book had such an emotional impact on me, that book, like, it gave me anxiety, like in the, like, not the best way, kind of the worst way, but the fact that she was able to bring such an emotional response to me, I just really want to tell her how much I love her book and how much it means to me, and how good of an experience I had with how she was able to make me appreciate what I had and the situation I'm in compared to what some people are in. And it was a really great book, and I recommend everyone read it once you're kind of more acquainted with the romance genre. I would say that is not one for beginners, just because that book is heavy. It's very heavy. I would say I love it, and I would love to meet Kennedy Ryan, and I'd love to just have her sign my books. So this one is a new favorite, and that's Brittany C. Cherry. I just read Eleanor and Gray, and this is one of my favorite books of 2020. I loved this book, and I loved the writing. I cried so many times during this stupid book, and I would love to meet Brittany C. Cherry and just, you know, be like, hey, listen, I am a big baby, and your book made me cry. Next up I have Mary Wine, which, if you didn't know, I love the Highland Weddings series. I'm on book number 4 now, and this is a Highlander historical romance. These all have weddings in them. They're either arranged marriage or forced marriages or marriages of convenience, and I love them so much. They made me fall in love with Highlanders and Highland romances, and they made me fall in love with historical romance. I mean, don't get me wrong, Tessa Dare did help me, and like, she pushed me along the way, but Mary Wine, she nailed it. Like, she nailed me into my coffin. So I really want to meet her and get some of her books, have them signed, and I just want to tell her how much I love her books and how they have helped me find my love for historical romance. I just think that would be really special, and I just really want that in my life. Next up, I have Tessa Dare. Again, one of the people who helped me get into romance, historical romance. I would love to meet her and just tell her how much I love her books and how she kind of gave me a little bit of a push to finally sink me in to historical romance. I just love Tessa Dare. I love her characters. They're so funny and they're so cute, and I just love them a lot. Next up I have Katie Robert. Do I even need to explain Katie Robert? I love Katie Robert. I love her Wicked Villain series. She writes dark romances. She writes taboo romances. I love her. I need more books from her all the time. She was supposed to be at a Polycon, so I do have some books signed by her. I would love to eventually have a big stack of her books signed, and I would also love to just eventually be able to meet her and tell her honestly how special it was for me to finally see a CNC scene, or CNC, yes, that's right, consensual non-consensual scene in a book, because I love CNC, and I always thought that I was absolutely weird for liking that stuff, and she just really showed me that, you know, BDSM isn't weird, and that the things that you like in BDSM and books and in real life, if you're into it, you know, it's not weird, and it's like, it can be normal and it should be normal, and she just made me feel seen, and I just really want to tell her that. I just want her to know that I love her books and that I want her to write to the end of time. Okay, you all are gonna notice a slight difference in my appearance because I don't know what happened, but for some reason the clip for the end of this, the last 2 or 3 authors that I wanted to talk about, is somehow corrupted, deleted, missing. I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna tell you the other 3 really quick. So ignore the change. I'm very sorry. Okay, so the next author on my list is no other than Tessa Dare. I absolutely adored the first book that I read from Tessa Dare, and I would love to go up to her and just let her know how much her book meant to me, because it got me into the historical romance genre, and I think that it is evident, if you can't see the historicals here and back there, that I love historical romance now, and that is all thanks to Tessa Dare. If I wouldn't have started her book and I wouldn't have read about Penny and the Duke of Ruin, I don't think that I would be in the situation where I am now, where I'm in love with historical romance and I can't get enough of them. So yeah, I would love to meet Tessa Dare and just have a book or 2 signed by her, and I think that would be really cool. Next up is Rebecca Weatherspoon. I've now read 2 books from Rebecca Weatherspoon, but specifically I want to meet her because of Zenny. I absolutely love this book. I read it based off of Izzy's recommendation. This is an interracial relationship, and both of the characters are bisexual, and I had never felt so seen in a relationship than I did reading that one. I think it's absolutely beautiful seeing 2 bisexual people who are attracted to the opposite sex, that are in a relationship and they're in love and they want to be together. I love that it did not erase their bisexuality, and I loved getting to see that even though when someone chooses to be with someone of the opposite gender, it doesn't erase the fact that they are attracted to both genders or any gender, and I just absolutely love that. It was just a beautiful, beautiful situation, and I just want to meet her and tell her how much I appreciated it and that I loved it, because I think that's absolutely beautiful. And I would like to see more of that, where we have characters who are bisexual in straight passing relationships, and they kind of, you know, they don't shy away from the fact that they're not just one thing. Like, just because they are in a straight passing relationship doesn't mean they are straight, and I think that I just want to see more of that, and I love it, and it's absolutely beautiful. And then lastly on my list, I have Tessa Bailey. I love Tessa Bailey. I have wanted to meet her since I read Fix Her Up. I actually had a picture on my Instagram because I was going to meet her at a Polycon, and it was just me holding the book, and it was open to where she was going to sign it at, and it said, the caption was, "I can't wait for her signature to be here in just a couple months." And then a Polycon got canceled, and that just did not happen. And even though that is so heartbreaking, and I really want to meet Tessa Bailey, I know eventually I will probably meet her because she does go to author events, and it's kind of my mission now to go meet Tessa Bailey and to be able to have her sign my books, because she quickly became one of my all-time favorite authors, and I love her a lot. So definitely want to include Tessa on this list because I just love her a lot. All right, those are all of the authors I would like to meet. Do not forget to go check out Bethany down below. I will link her video, and I hope that you liked my list, and I hope you like hers. If you want to be my friend on any other platform, I have all my links in the description: Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads. And if you want to see more romance content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because I do put out weekly bookish content about romance and sometimes other genres, but mostly romance. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye, everyone.
Rosie, sweet Rosie, you can